If you're following the shooting and fire at the LDS church building in Michigan, I've got some information about the building itself. First of all, I read that this building was built about 37 years ago, so it will look a little different than the newer buildings. All the new buildings are built basically the exact same way. This building was probably built by the hands of the members themselves. I do have a video I took inside of an LDS chapel local to me just 2 weeks ago, and it looks like this chapel is built similarly. The inside might look differently, but the makeup is about the same. So I'll show that right now. You see the organ and the piano up front, some seating for a few of the members, the microphone where someone talks, the congregation sits in these pews. That back opens up to the overflow and gym area. The doors go to the hallways. You can see in this one, you've got the chapel is right here. The front doors are on either side. The shooter drove his truck into this brick wall. All right. Inside this area, you have the pulpit area, the choir. There's some chairs there. There's an organ and a piano typically. And then you have a few more chairs. The people sitting up here on a typical Sunday is going to be the person who plays the piano or the organ, the person conducting the music, the bishop and his first and second counselors, and sometimes there's a few other people sitting up here giving talks. This last Sunday was likely a fast and testimony meeting Sunday, which means that anybody from the congregation can get up and bear their testimony for a few minutes and then they go sit back down. So I'm saying there's probably about 5 or so people sitting right up here on the pulpit area. And then you have normally a row and a row and a row in the middle of seating. There's men, women, and children all in there. The children do not go to like a nursery during sacrament meeting. The children stay with your family. Normally there's probably around like 150 or so people in the building is my guess. 150 to 200. That's just a guess, and it's probably a good guess based on the numbers I've read in the articles too. So you have people sitting here, then you have an overflow area in the gym, you have a stage up here. None of this is typically in use, but there are probably some chairs back here where people have filled in. Sometimes somebody will sit out in the foyer if they have a rowdy kid or something. And then you might have some people doing some office work or meeting in some of the classrooms from different congregations. So at this building, I believe 3 congregations met throughout the day. One was in the chapel at the time. Another one wasn't going to come until later in the day. And I think the Spanish-speaking congregation was coming to get ready to meet. I'm guessing based off of what I've looked up on the LDS meetinghouse locator website. Bathrooms, classrooms, nursery, but like I said, all the kids would be in the chapel, unfortunately, when this happened. And on this side, you have more kitchen, bathrooms, offices, and classrooms. I'm kind of curious if this is like my local buildings that were built about 35 or so years ago, where they built a part of the building and then they added on later. That could be true or not for this area, I'm not sure. And then my other concern is how fast everything caught fire. That's a lot. It destroyed the whole building, and it makes me curious if the building being old, maybe a little outdated, participated in any of that. But that's just a guess. I've been electrocuted in one of these buildings before, so that's just like where my mind goes. But I think that the shooter, I know he had IEDs, and I know they're investigating that. Maybe with his military experience, he just knew what he was doing. I don't know. But unfortunately, he just really hated the Mormons and decided this is what they needed. I don't know.